Yo, peace was good. Welcome to part two of my experience living here in Florida and the pros and cons. I left off with the water here. It's just not good. I mean, it's improved like I said before. But I drink either the filter water from my refrigerator or bottled water. Honestly, I don't really drink the water from here. The tap water just doesn't taste as good. But I don't get that sulfur smell from like from the sink or from the tap water, which is good. All right, so that's why I left off with the water. Um, Mind you, we're doing cons now because I did the first three because I wrote a couple here. The fourth one, Florida is becoming very expensive, very very expensive, especially here in South Florida. Um, you know, it's just getting crazy here, man. Like Florida's getting really popular, especially in South Florida. Everybody's moving down here to South Florida. Anywhere, everywhere, from everywhere. Especially people that's coming from up north, they're moving down here to South Florida because you know everybody just thinks of South Florida as like the party town and stuff like that. Whatever they see on TV is like what they think they're gonna get. But sometimes it's the exact opposite. Like people don't always go to the beach every day. You don't party all the time. You actually have to work, and it's just and then like I said, the job economy, which I'll get into here, is not really the best. People actually have to live paycheck to paycheck, things like that. I'll get more deep into that. I'll get more in detail with that. But yeah, and then even some groceries are getting expensive too. Like but the one good thing about Publix, because Publix is like one of the big supermarkets here in Southeast, is that they always have specials like buy one get one free and stuff like that. So, but I love Publix, but a little pricey, but I know I'm gonna get quality product from Publix and stuff like that. So yeah, very expensive, but that's why a lot of people tend to go more Central Florida and the Northern Florida because Central Florida, Northern Florida tend to be a little bit more cheap. Because I remember one of my homegirls that used to live here, she was telling me that when she moved out of when she left South Florida to go to like Pussy and Lucy, it was like the Treasure Coast of Florida. It's like going towards Central Florida. Excuse the background. Got the landscape people cutting the grass. Excuse me. She told me her insurance rate for a car has dropped, like in price, because they think that people in South Florida have money, and that's not the case. Like it's like South Florida is really becoming like New York now. It's like it's really for the rich. It's like the rich versus the poor. It's like it's getting really expensive, even though we don't pay state taxes, but it sure damn feels like it because the way everything is getting so expensive, and it's just so crazy. Like I've always thought, like if things are gonna get expensive, at least make the quality better. That's what I'm thinking. That's my thing, but that's not always the case. But yeah, that's pretty much all on the expensive part. 5, rude people. Boy, Florida got some rude ass fucking people. Really, really fucking rude. Really rude. I've dealt with a lot of rude people here. I mean, you got some nice people here, you got some rude people. You think New Yorkers are rude? Nah. Florida people are fucking rude. And I'm gonna make a lot of people like to say New Yorkers are rude because, people tell it like it is, and they're very upfront and they tell like it is. And, you gotta have thick skin. It kind of applies to over here, but I think people just be rude, and they're really ignorant about it. You know what I mean? And, like, for example, like, I've noticed, like, when you go to, like, when I go to, like, Boca, certain parts of Boca, particularly, like, East Boca, and, sorry about that, East Boca, and, over there is predominantly Jewish people, and that's not to shit on Jewish people, but you got some that are they tend to be very cliquish, so if you're not one of them, they don't fuck with you. They look down on you. They just like stare at you. It's like, nigga, what the fuck you doing over here? You know, that kind of thing. And I always get that vibe with those people, you know what I'm saying? And I met some good Jewish people too that are not like that, but you got some that really, I hate to say, like, they make the majority of that vibe, and you make the majority of that community that they're rude and they're very disrespectful, stuck up and stuff like that. And you got people here with money, you know, the people that's higher up and stuff like that in society, you know, they're very rude. You know, if you're not one of them, then they don't fuck with you. You know, like I said, they're very cliquish over here. Another thing too I've noticed too, like when I first moved down here to Florida, a lot of people from here, like from the South, did not like people from New York coming down here to live. You know, because New York is very expensive. You know, so that's why you have a lot of people from up north coming down to Florida, because better way of living, cheaper, and you get more for your buck. But a lot of the natives down here don't like that, because like you're taking away, you know, it boils down to deforestation, where like certain things that that Florida is known for, they're getting rid of because of you know, because I guess the higher demand of nicer houses are becoming high. It's kind of the same thing with gentrification in New York, like that's happening. Like you go to the hood, and you know you got all these transplants from different states going to New York, buying up all the property, kicking people out, to raise up the prices and shit. And you're kicking people that have been living here for 30, 40 years, you're kicking them out just because you want a nicer place and you think it's hip to be there. That's some bullshit. So I could definitely relate. I definitely understand their sentiments, like, but you know, it's just crazy, man. There's just a lot of ignorant people out here, man. That's one thing I don't like about Florida. But there are some nice people too. But you got some, I say more on the rude side of things. But you know, it is what it is. 6. Unreliable public transportation. People, I cannot stress this enough. If you want to live in Florida, you have to have a car. I don't care if you live in Miami, Broward, Orlando, Jacksonville. I don't care. You guys have to have a car. You have to have the car. I mention those places because those places tend to be more urban, I guess, more city-like, I guess, even though I don't really consider, I mean, I guess, like, Miami, Florida, it's, like, somewhat city, but, you know, to me, cities, like, you know, places like Baltimore, New York, Philly, you know, Detroit, Chicago, that's city to me, but in Florida's aspect, those places that I mentioned are, like, more city. It's, like, the more city you're gonna get here in Florida. So, but you have to have a car. You have to have a car. Because the public transportation here sucks. It sucks, but it is cheap. Well, at least the public buses here are cheap. The Palm Tran, whatever that shit is called. But the taxis here are very expensive. They'll fucking tax the shit out of you. Them niggas don't play. They, like, for example, I remember one time my grandmother, I forgot who came to visit. We dropped them off at the mall, and they wanted to get a taxi here. The mall is maybe like 20 minutes away from my house, and then she's gonna take a taxi back to get to the house. They want to charge you $50. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No. Fuck that shit. So, yeah, so that's public transportation. And the public transportation is not like in New York where it's like 24 hours. Like, you know, the last bus runs at 7 o'clock. And if you miss your bus, that's your ass. That's on you. But luckily we do have Uber and things like that. But even with Uber, I'm very skeptical. I just don't trust a random nigga that I don't know, a perfect stranger, you know, with their personal car. I don't know what the fuck they got in their car. I don't know if they have like poisonous gas in the car, trying to poison niggas and shit, and take it to their house and fucking torch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. It's just very crazy, you know. You gotta be careful, because there's been cases where Uber drivers doing crazy shit, you know, killing their passengers, you know, raping them, and chill. I'm good with that. You know, if you're gonna use an Uber, you know, yes, it's a lot cheaper, and you got Lyft too. You know, it's relatively cheaper, but it's just a lot of risks that go with that. But it's a good hustle though. I'll give you that. You do make some good money, so I'll give you that. I'll give them that on that aspect. But yeah, the public transportation sucks. It's like I said, it's not like New York with the MTA where it runs 24 hours. Here, it had like a set schedule, and then that's it. If you missed out on that schedule, that's on you. So I highly recommend you guys get a car. There's really no point in you living in Florida if you don't have a car. That's just my personal opinion. 7, bad job economy, minimum wages. The job economy here sucks. You know, as much as beautiful as Florida is, the job economy here sucks. The pay sucks. That's one thing, and it goes back to what I said about not paying state taxes. That's kind of like one of the drawbacks for having not paying state taxes, which is a good thing, but at the same time you get more bang for your buck. But there are sacrifices you got to do. You got to deal with less pay. So that's the kicker with the whole thing with with the pay here. The only way, in my opinion, I mean, you'll make it in Florida, but you'll struggle. That's what it is. Like, I know people that are working 2 jobs just to survive. My mom being one of them. It fucking sucks, and it shouldn't have to be that way. It's crazy. And it's crazy too, because I've noticed a lot of senior citizens that are retired, but they're working in, the local supermarket, because, they just can't afford, like, maybe the pension ran out or something, or, they just can't afford, to live off what they're living off right now. So they have to have a job to maintain their, lifestyle. It's just all fucked up. Like, for me, the only way you'll be able to survive, like, really comfortably, if you're in real estate, finance, banks, stuff like that, stocks and things of that nature, business, anything like business management, anything like that, legal, dealing with, lawyers, paralegals, public defenders, stuff like that, and medical. Those four industries is the only way you'll live comfortably living in Florida, But even those industries are very fickle because there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition within those with those those industries. Every place there's a medical. And that's the thing too. Like, there's always a new medical office building. There's a new business always building. It's like it's a lot going on. There's a lot of things. Like, everybody's trying to get the best, the best deal to what they get. One place you might not be able to get the best deal, but another place you might. So there's a lot of competition. So that kind of it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing too. So that's what I got from that joint. So, and minimum wage here is $8.25 an hour. Like, who can live off of that? So with that, you probably get paid like $3 something a week. You can't live off of that. There's no way you can live off of that. You know what I'm saying? Other places, I think like California, I think you get paid like minimum wage in California. I think it's like $12 an hour. I could be wrong on that, but I think because they pay higher taxes there than over here. But this is like ridiculous. This is 2018, and they just recently made it $8.25. A couple before that it was $8.10 an hour. In 2006, I was making $8.40 an hour working at Walmart, working overnight. But if I didn't work overnight, I would have got paid $7. I forgot, it was like seven something. I think like $7.40. Yeah, I would have been paid $7.40 an hour. And this is 2006. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. But it is what it is on that. So yeah. Another thing I want to talk about: bad Chinese food and pizza. It is so hard to find good Chinese food. You got all these Chinese spots that always want to claim that they're the New York style, this and that and the third, and it's just like, it doesn't even come close. It doesn't come close. This is one place that, I used to go to. I'm not going to mention the name. I don't want to give them publicity. But their food was official. I used to love their food. But then it's like I know there was that particular restaurant that I used to go to. They changed cooks, and that plays a part in the way the food tastes because depending on the cooks, is how your food comes out. The outcome your food comes out, and that was always the case with the Chinese restaurant that I used to go to. It's so bad. It's so funny because a couple weeks ago, my mom ordered Chinese food from there, and her food was very salty. Like she couldn't even eat the food. Like I actually had to bring back the food and get our money back. Like I never been to a Chinese restaurant where I had to bring back the food because it was fucking salty as hell. It was crazy. It's crazy, man. And this particularly Chinese restaurant, they don't have Chinese cooks. They have none against white people and Chinese people. I mean, or Mexicans, but like I want Chinese. I want Chinese cooking my Chinese food. Like that's just me. And also too, pizza. It's such a struggle to find good pizza here in Florida, at least in South Florida. Although I did hear that there are pizza places that actually get water imported from New York. They get like water trucks that come from New York to make their pizza. I think that's pretty cool. I would love to find some of those pizza parlors because the water does play a part in your pizza. You know, it boils down to the crust and the sauce that's in your pizza. Because, you know, I'll get a slice here and there, but it's like either the pizza's hard or the crust is hard. Like I can't even eat that shit. It's like that shit will hurt my gums. It's like what the fuck? It's like overcooked. You can hardly taste the shit. It's like it's really bad. There is just one place I could recommend you guys. There's this place called Thick and Thin in Boca Raton, which is about, I think it's like 30 minutes away from 35 to 40 minutes away from where I live here in West Palm Beach. Thick and Thin in Boca Raton. Highly recommend that place. Very, very, very good. It's been a couple years since I went to that restaurant, but when I first checked it out, I really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, one of these days I might head out there, get me a slice over there. You know, get a bite to eat over there, because it's very hard to find good pizza here. Excuse me. Number 9, everything is so far. You need a car. Again, it goes back to what I said about public transportation. You need a car in Florida. I cannot stress this enough. It's crazy because Florida is flat. So, which means everything is spread out. Okay, it's not like New York where, you know, everything is like, the convenience is like, you know, great compared to over here. You know, it's not like where, you know, I could call one of my boys like, yo, where you at? I'm in Brooklyn. I'll be there in 30 minutes, or vice versa. The convenience is not there over here. Over here, you need to have a car. Like, I have people, like my friends, that'll come down, you know, they'll come to Miami for vacation because I know that's the thing with New York is they love going to South Beach, which I think is overrated. It's okay, but it's very expensive, and it's very expensive and overrated. It's like, once you've been there so many times, but you know, that's neither here or there. But I have people tell me like, yo, I'm in Miami, but like, yo, just come through. But I'm like, yo, dude, like, I live like an hour and a half away from Miami, yo. Like, yo, it's just, well, hour, like, how, yeah, because from my house to South Beach, it takes literally about an hour and a half. So, you know, gas, you gotta consider gas and, you know, things like that, and just like it's so spread out, it's just like so spacious. So that's the thing that people need to consider on that. 10, overpopulated. Again, South Florida is becoming very overpopulated. I mean, which boils down to traffic. Again, it comes down to what I said before. You got people from, you know, from up north coming down, and they hear about South Florida because they watch too much television shows or movies, and they wanna live that life. So, and they come here and not realizing like, yo, like, what the fuck did I do? Like, you know. And I've had people tell me like, you know, they kind of regret moving to Florida, you know, and that kind of thing. And you know, Florida is not for everybody, and I definitely agree with that. But overpopulated, and it's like anytime there's school, like, you know, a lot of the kids that go to school here, they use the cheese bus or the school bus, and they have the stupid fucking stop signs attached to this bus. So, you know, you have to stop. There's a law here that you have to stop. I mean, that's everywhere. If you have the stop sign with the bus that comes with the bus, and it puts stop, and then they put the stop sign. If you don't stop, that's a hefty fine. You don't want to do that. But that shit causes traffic, and it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. And traffic here is like no tomorrow. Miami's worse. Miami's traffic is too crazy, but it's not as bad as New York's traffic. Like, oh my god, I don't miss New York traffic. And you know, New York is so, it's big, but it's small at the same time. It's very compact, if that makes sense. It's not as big as people make it out to be. But yeah, Miami traffic sucks. Like, you'll be there for hours. It's just bad. Here too, it's getting crowded, it's overpopulated. People don't know how to drive. It's just fucking ridiculous. 11. Horrible school systems. School system here sucks. At least for high school. Like elementary and shit like that. I remember when I came to school, when I went to high school here, there was a test called the FCAT, which is kind of like, you know, like all my people's is like the citywide test, like the, you know, it's you know, the citywide test, the regions test for my New Yorkers. You guys know what I'm talking about. Pretty much the controversy with that test is that kids didn't learn anything from the test. The whole point of taking the FCAT was to make the school look good. If everybody passed the test, then the school, that particular school, would get a particular grade level. It would become an A school, a B school. You know, it depends on the majority of people that pass the test, and a lot of people failed the test, including myself, which is why I passed the reading test, and they have the FCAT test. I mean, the math FCAT, and I failed the math because I'm not really good at math. I hate math, and because of that, I actually went to summer school, but I finished summer school within like 2 weeks after that because, you know, I'm that dude. But, you know, whatever. But I did graduate. I did walk my class, but I didn't get my degree at that time because of I had to do summer school. When I finished summer school, that's when I got my degree. So it's like one of those bullshit. It's one of those bullshits. And finally, but they have great colleges here. You know, if you guys, depending on what school you go to, what you're majoring in, they have great schools. They have FIU in Miami, FAU in Boca. They got UCF in Orlando, USF in Tampa, University of Florida, which is in Gainesville, FAMU, FSU, you know, places like that. All that good stuff, man. They have great colleges here, but they tend to be a little pricey. But what colleges isn't, right? Universities. And my final gripe of Florida is stupid ass power fluctuations. I fucking hate that shit. What I mean by that is that it could be nice and sunny and the lights will go out. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? And I know there's factors of it. You know, Florida being the state with the most lightning strikes, which plays a factor. But like I said, it's not even fucking raining and the light goes out. That's stupid. Could be faulty, you know, circuit breakers in the house. It could be a lot of things, a lot of things that could happen. But Florida is known for this, and it just sucks. And something that they haven't really improved, which, you know, all the money they make, and they can't even afford to fix that. But that's not here or there. And one thing I want to throw out, the difference between North and South Florida. In a nutshell, North Florida, I've noticed, tends to be more conservative. It's more traditional in a sense where it's a little bit more rural and stuff. You know, they have like that small town vibe to them. What I've noticed with North Florida, some parts of North Florida, but the majority of North Florida is like more like rural, small town like kind of environment. Whereas South Florida is more modern, more urban. I hate that word urban, but it's more city like, stuff like that. And that's the vibe that I got with South Florida. It's like, and if you're a young person, South Florida is the place to be. If you're like a more older person, want to start a family, but don't want to live, you still want to live in Florida, but you don't want to break your pockets, North Florida is the place to be. Or Central Florida, I should say. My thoughts of living here in Florida, I got used to it. I actually like Florida. Florida's my home. I don't love it, but I like it. And yes, I have thought about moving back to New York, but I just don't like how expensive it is. And New York is just not the same anymore. It's on gentrified now, and it's just it's just not the same for me. And then a lot of people that I know are moving out of New York, so it's just what it is. But I still have family out there, and I still have a couple of my friends that I grew up living there, that I grew up in New York with. They still live out there. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's it on this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think, man. Do you guys feel the same sentiments of Florida? Do you guys like Florida? Are you guys thinking about moving to Florida? Do you want to leave Florida? Are you guys from Florida? Everybody's welcome to comment, but please keep it respectful. Don't be a dick. I'm just gonna delete your comment. I'm petty like that. Just keep it respectful. You can agree to disagree. You can discuss why you agree or disagree, but just keep it respectful. That's it, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Sorry for the lengthy video, but I just want to give you guys my point of view of Florida. I think Florida is a great place to live, South Florida especially, but you have to pay to play to live here. That's the only thing with South Florida. But you do get more bang for your buck compared to other places. So, like I said, real estate here is great. You get great houses, big houses for great prices. So that's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay tuned for more content. Peace.